At 8 o'clock in the morning on April 16, 1947, longshoremen on the docks of Texas City, Texas noticed smoke coming from the cargo hold of the SS Grandcamp. The Grandcamp was carrying 2,300 tons of ammonium nitrate fertilizer. They tried a jug of water and 2 fire extinguishers. Neither worked. The Texas City Volunteer Fire Department was called. 27 volunteers responded. They stretched hoses to the deck and began fighting the fire. The smoke was orange and red and brilliant. Fires at the docks were not unusual. Residents came down to watch. They stood on the pier. They stood on nearby rooftops. Nobody told them to leave. Nobody told them what was in the hold. For over an hour, the fire burned. At 9:12 in the morning, the ammonium nitrate detonated. One of the largest non-nuclear explosions in recorded history. Heard 150 miles away. Registered on a seismograph in Denver, Colorado. A 15-foot tidal wave crashed across the docks. The ship's anchor was hurled across the city. Everyone on the pier died instantly. Every firefighter who had responded was killed. All but one. 581 people died. A second ship carrying ammonium nitrate exploded 16 hours later. The deadliest industrial accident in American history. And the ship had been on fire for over an hour before it exploded. Texas City in 1947 was a Gulf Coast boomtown of 16,000 people. Its economy ran on oil, chemicals, and the port. After World War II, the port began handling large quantities of ammonium nitrate. During the war, it had been manufactured in enormous quantities as an explosive ingredient. When the war ended, those factories were converted to fertilizer production. The same compound that had blown up battlefields across Europe was now being bagged and shipped to rebuild war-torn nations. Army manuals classified ammonium nitrate as a high explosive. The Department of Agriculture's guidance described fertilizer as not dangerous in itself. The contradiction was never resolved. By April of 1947, large quantities were moving through American ports with minimal safety precautions. The workers handling it were not told what it could do. The residents living near the docks were not told either. Nobody who needed to know was told anything. The SS Grandcamp arrived at Texas City on April 11th. A 437-foot Liberty ship, originally built in Los Angeles during the war. After the war, it had been assigned to the French line to assist in European reconstruction. On April 14th, it began loading its cargo, 2,300 tons of ammonium nitrate, along with tobacco, sisal twine, peanuts, and government-owned ammunition. Loading was interrupted by rain on the evening of April 15th. It was set to resume the morning of the 16th. At 8 o'clock, smoke was spotted rising from Hold 4. Hold 4 was partially full of ammonium nitrate. Between Hold 3 and Hold 4 sat a bunker containing fuel oil. When smoke appeared in Hold 4, the longshoremen tried to extinguish it. A jug of water, 2 fire extinguishers. Neither worked. The fire department was called at 8:05. 27 men arrived at the docks. What the captain of the Grandcamp did next determined everything. He decided not to use water on the fire. He was worried about damaging the cargo. He ordered Hold 4 sealed and had steam forced in to smother the flames. The steam may have liquefied some of the ammonium nitrate, producing nitrous oxide, an extremely volatile gas. The sealed hold concentrated the heat. The temperature kept rising. The fire kept growing. For over an hour, firefighters stood on the deck, while the smoke turned orange, then red, then a brilliant vermilion. The crowd on the waterfront grew larger. The colored smoke was spectacular. Nobody watching understood what was building below it. At 9:12, the ammonium nitrate in hold 4 reached its explosive threshold. The fuel oil bunker ruptured. Hot fuel poured onto the decomposing fertilizer. The Grandcamp detonated. The explosion obliterated the ship entirely. The 15-foot tidal wave crashed across the docks. The anchor landed blocks from the waterfront. The blast leveled nearly 1,000 buildings within 2,000 feet. Windows shattered as far as Houston. The Monsanto Chemical Company plant beside the port was destroyed instantly. Flying debris ignited refineries and storage tanks across the waterfront. At 9:12, Texas City had a volunteer fire department of 47 men. By 9:15, 20 were dead. All 4 fire trucks destroyed. The city had no hospital. City Hall and the Chamber of Commerce became emergency infirmaries within the hour. 4,000 rescue workers poured in from across the region. While they worked, a second ship sat burning nearby. The SS High Flyer, carrying 961 tons of ammonium nitrate and 1,800 tons of sulfur. Workers tried to tow it away from the dock. The lines snapped. At 1:10 in the morning on April 17th, 16 hours after the first explosion, the High Flyer detonated. The city that had already been devastated was devastated again. 581 confirmed dead. Nearly 200 missing and never found. 63 buried unidentified. The families of the dead filed the first class action lawsuit ever brought against the United States government. 8,485 plaintiffs. The argument was simple. The government had failed to warn of the danger, failed to regulate the storage and transport of a substance its own Army manuals classified as a high explosive. In 1950, a federal judge awarded $17 million in damages. The Fifth Circuit reversed it. In 1953, the Supreme Court ruled 5-4 that the government could not be held liable. The families received nothing. New regulations followed. Ammonium nitrate required cool storage in specialized containers. No storage near reactive materials. Restricted overseas transport. All of it written after 581 people were already dead. On the morning of April 16, 1947, people in Texas City came down to the waterfront to watch a ship burn. The smoke was beautiful, orange and red and brilliant against the Gulf Coast sky. They did not know what was in the hold. Nobody told them. The danger was in Army manuals. It was classified as a high explosive in military documentation. The people responsible for shipping it had that information. It did not reach the docks. It did not reach the firefighters. It did not reach the people standing on the pier. The ship had been on fire for over an hour. There was time to act. There was time to warn. There was time to clear the waterfront. None of it happened. 581 people died. The families sued the government and lost. The regulations came after. The ship's anchor still sits in a park near the Texas City waterfront. The names of the 27 firefighters who responded that morning are carved into the memorial beside it. They answered the call. Nobody told them what they were walking into. Did you know the Texas City disaster was the deadliest industrial accident in American history? And do you think the families deserved compensation from the government? Tell me below.